But I think Renaissance people really showing how art's, the possibility of art is endless, really. If people ask me, what is art? I will tell people and say, art is visualize something invisible. Art is inspired by reality, by nature, right? But art is never the nature. Arts have to be above and beyond nature. So that's what we call creating art. When you create, it means something's not there. You made it. Otherwise, what do you mean create, right? You made something never exists before. So art has no limit. But who get this concept? Da Vinci, Michelangelo, and that generation. They opened the doors. They not only open the doors for that, but they have a foundation, they have merit. They have the scientific kind of proof into certain ways. Make sense, everybody? Okay. But what's to do with the color?
Hello, you're watching Vexit Art. Today we will be learning from Robert Yu about his studies on the history of the color wheel. Please forgive us. There's about 2 minutes in the beginning of this video. The sound quality is not that great due to technical difficulties. If you can get past those 2 minutes, the information is really interesting. Thank you for watching and please enjoy.
In order to get a sense of what color, how the color relay, how the color. Okay, so 3 primary colors. Do you see the word primary? What does primary mean? Huh?
The main 3 colors.
The main 3 colors.
First.
The first, the original.
They can't be mixed into. They can't be formed into 2 colors, from 2 colors like secondaries.
So basically, it's the roots of the colors,
Yes,
right?
that's what I meant to say.
Yeah. So which are the 3?
Red, blue, yellow.
Red, blue, yellow. Okay. Then what?
Secondary.
Secondary. So what is a secondary? So in this relationship, secondary is the color between 2 primary colors, right? Okay? Understand? Right. So between red and blue. Yeah, Pamela said what? Red. So between red and yellow.
Orange, white. Green.
Everything. What is this?
Brown, black, gray. Mud.
Brown, black, gray. Which one is supposed to be? What are your teacher told you? What did your teacher tell you? Black. Your teacher told you brown? Yes. Really, between these 2, there are colors too. Right? We'll call it what? Tertiary. What is tertiary? What's tertiary mean? Third. The first, the second, the third. Right? So then, Pamela, you probably understand, really is not necessarily directly they're mixing, but in general they're mixing, but they can be more specific what this content is in there. Right? So basically, when you look at this, right, you separate them, right? So here will be what?
Purplish red.
Purplish red, because it close to the red. Do you see this? Purple-ish red. We come here with what? Reddish purple, because it's close to that. All right? So we come here is bluish purple, purplish blue. Yes, let me talk about Da Vinci. Da Vinci creates color wheel, but it's different. He started, because that's how you understand how color relate. What's colors in there? Why? You know? Let me just show you this Da Vinci's color wheel. Okay? Some people call it visual. Right? Visual, but okay. I want you to, copy it, whatever. Time period, is, 15th century. It's just his birthdays, and let me just, okay. Not very long, but he really made a difference. Okay, so I have my notes here. Let me just put it in here. Okay. Basically, I would just follow this one. We don't have to always put the red on top. So when Da Vinci had the color wheel, do you see here? It's now 3 primary colors. 4. Okay. Why 4? Right? But how this one, because this is nowadays current color wheel, but this is basically kind of the very beginning. Before him, there's really, I couldn't find anybody really create a color wheel. Okay? But you have to understand, from the Renaissance, they are systematically teaching or researching the theory, like linear perspective, like a color theory. Okay? So, but they have like yellow, put green, because these 3, right? That's similar to the same as the other, but he included green. Okay? You have to understand, those people who study color, they have different devices too. Okay? They use way to find color mostly from reality, from nature, right? Okay, so in between them, we call the secondary colors, right? I will just put them in the box so you can see them. So this one actually is red-orange. This one is yellow-green. This one is blue-green. This one is, at the time he called it violet, basically is purple, right? So that's called the secondary colors, right? Then in between them, there's not necessarily significant. I would just put in here so basically like what we talk about, tertiary, right? But here is blue, green, blue. It's interesting, green, blue, green. Interesting how these people who at the time, they label these things. However, one thing Da Vinci didn't address is the center. It's how you mix things. But this has remained unknown. Okay? Unknown. Because he didn't really address that at this point. But when we look at these two side by side, you can see there are similarities, definitely, right? But there's different because it's a 4 primary color rather than 3. All right? you know, what I'm doing is start from here and then now chronologically going to today. So you can see what's going on, what happened, what changed, what not changed. All right? You probably understand this today's color wheel much better. All right? You got this? Now go to number 2. Make sure I get. You know Sir Newton, right? Yeah. Who's this guy? Astronomer, but mostly known as scientist. Not artist, scientist.
He kind of established the theory of gravity, I guess?
Yeah, well, because, you know the famous story, right? All right, so, but he's later than Da Vinci, right? I will just put the time, give you a little. So he is a scientist, okay? But this time he's going to address the center. And his color wheel is a little kind of funky because he put in this way. So these are equal. Let me just make sure they're equal. Equal, I think. I'll try to make it actually bigger. Okay, so he had these, let me just do this. So I want to make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, they're equal. So here's yellow, here's blue, here's red, and here's green. Okay, do you see here? If you look at these 3, basically what we use today, correct? But same as Da Vinci, Newton, including the green as primary colors, right? So, so this will cut into half. Actually, this should be the same size as these. Let me just make it. So this is orange, this is violet, this is blue-violet somehow, or he called indigo. And in the center, he put white in there. Okay. But he's a scientist. So you can still see there's secondary colors in there. But here, green as dominant as the other 3 primary colors. But if you don't look at the side, you see orange, purple, and the green, right? Similar. Only thing different is, major difference in the center. All color mix is white. But you have to understand his perspective because he's a scientist. Okay? When Newton started, actually there's a telescope. Well, whatever the scope is started. So scientists study the stars and universe. Okay? But when you use the scope, you understand, scope, a tube, and then you have 2 or 3 elements, which is made of glass on 2 ends, right? One is called, viewing glasses and one object glasses, right? So, but old days, the glass is not quite as sophisticated. So when you see through glasses, there are other things happen. And there are a lot of times they see colors, especially at the edge of the glasses. Okay? How many people do photography here? Besides John, boy, I know John for 20-some years, and photography is part of his, passion.
Nowadays, we don't do photography. We do iPhone or smartphone, right? Anybody use camera? You use a camera?
Does a smartphone camera count?
No.
Okay. Never mind.
You have? Of course. Well, older generation, we know. Because nowadays,
I use the camera. I use a camera once in a while.
digital camera.
No, like a regular camera.
You mean film camera?
Yeah.
How many people use a film camera besides Liam?
Well, once in a while I do.
You use a film camera? Great. That is the thing, it's like, I encourage you to use old technology because it's fascinating. But when you have camera, so you still have a film camera.
I don't have one, but I've used one.
Okay.
I used to have.
Do you have it? Film camera? No?
Yeah, it's just somewhere in my house.
From your dad? No?
It's my mom's.
Okay. See, here we go. If you have never seen one, I used to collect cameras, so I have a whole bunch of stuff. But it's fascinating, but, photographers, they all talk about, equipment and the lens, because the sophisticated lenses, they have like 7 different glasses, 4 or 5 different groups. So the lens, they really try to avoid, they say high qualities, they don't have color aberration. What's color aberration? Actually, is when you see the lens, the inferior lens and the edge, they will have kind of rainbow color. Okay? And when you do color photography, you guys, everything's color. I put my cell phone, everything's color, right? Old days, those, black and white, the film is, color is hard to do and expensive. But anyway, when you have the color aberration, you have a distortion, so your color is not quite as correct. But Newton actually find color by looking at the lens, say, hey, what's going on? Where does this color come from? That's how he gets fascinated about colors. Sometimes like accidental. But he just started figuring it out, and he said, okay, I can see these things. Right? But you can see here similarities, difference, but that's our question. Where does this white come from? But you understand, Newton is not a painter. He never mixed paint and put on canvas or paper. Okay? He discovered color basically by looking at this universe.
So with the difference between what Da Vinci created and Newton created, Newton was looking at light.
You're right. Yeah, it's different. But there's similarities.
That's why his wheel is Roy-G Biv. It's the rainbow.
Well, you could see that. Okay, but the funny thing is, these two people, from kind of a different perspective, but there's similarities because they all have green included in the primary colors.
And it's because the only way you can see those colors is because light's bouncing off of it, right? So
Yeah,
Newton's,
yeah.
so
So,
would Newton be kind of like the before and then the actual pigment and the,
Da Vinci started. It's before Newton.
so you're going from
Yeah, but you can see the different perspective. Even though Da Vinci is scientists, engineers, but mostly art. But Newton is, scientist. Okay, let's take a break. So far, we're clear? Everything? Because when we talk about, I'm going to just chronologically, gradually close to here, then you really know what's going on. Understand better. Because a lot of times people always say, why is this? I try to explain as much as possible. I give you information, help you to understand. Because people say, why is it white? Right? Now we get a little bit clarity. We're going there.
So you know what is different, because definitely Newton's approach is different from Da Vinci's approach. There are similarities, okay? So you got this one? Due to the nature of the class, so every time the lecture, I give you a lot of information. You just have to slowly, sometimes you may have to just look back to your note. So that's why I say taking notes is important. You look back notes, you probably get a little bit more clarity. I'm going to post additional information too, probably next week. I usually do like a Monday. I'll post the whole thing because during the COVID, I wrote a kind of put this thing together like a textbook. I don't want to do that because I want my notes be flexible. Sometimes adding new informations to it too, because technology changed. A lot of things we didn't know. Nowadays, wow, that's what is happening, right? Okay, so number 3 is another guy who, let me just write down his name. Sometimes I can't spelling. So Harris. It's all right. So this person is from 1700, let me just write it down, to 1700. Those days, people don't live too long, So Moses Harris is a English guy. Okay, his profession is entomologist, which is bugs. Okay, nature, scientist too, right? Plants. Bugs. All right, he developed color wheel too. Because you understand, a lot of those people, they do illustrations, right? But in nature, butterflies, and they have beautiful color. So all of a sudden, they feel like kind of important for them to understand the color because they do contact color. But this guy is, say, scientist, but he did paint, but it's not artistically painting, but he painting for scientific purpose. It's like painting as illustration or recording what kind of species butterfly this is, right? In what region, how they migration. You're right, yeah. But there are a lot of color because, butterfly, I use this as, a lot of other bugs have colors too. So his color wheel is kind of interesting, but I try to including these people because they have something, art, pure science art, but a lot of times it's combination. Okay, that's why I say this class really is not just your typical art class. Everything's in there. Okay, all right. So, of course, everything I do is like primary colors. Let me just make sure because these people, they have a proportion. They will tell you more important colors, less important colors. So they have a size difference. Okay, so you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 probably is bigger. So this one is red, primary color, yellow, primary color, green, primary color, blue, and he put purple there too, interestingly enough. Okay, so here's orange. Here is yellow, green, yellow. Sometimes, I guess, okay, my understanding is it's kind of a greenish yellow because yellow. to give you the proportion. More dominant yellow, but there's green content in there, okay? So this one is purplish red. However, in the center, he has these interesting triangular things going on here. Triangle, triangle, triangle. They see here, they have two triangles. Oh, actually, in the center, sorry. Let me just make this a little bit clear. There's a little triangle, small triangle in the center. Do you see these, how they overlap? There's another triangle in here. So that one is a black. Sometimes I don't want to just use the B because there's blue, brown, black. All right. And then this one's red, yellow, and blue. So basically, it's two color wheels coexist. The center one have things like this, and outer ones have things little different. Let me just put this one in there. Okay? For me, I look at this person, outside is how his observation about nature. Okay? Inside is he's using it to paint his illustrations. So outside is his scientific approach. Inside is his, I'm not saying artistic approach, but it's more like a painterly kind of approach, right? Those people who they will collect the real, insect. They will pin them, and put it in the shadow back. You know that, right? So as illustration of particular species. But a lot of times, those people, they really can paint too. They will record the color, the size, the wing shapes, or the body shapes, So I would consider these people do have a particular artistic skill for different purpose. Yes?
Is it because that was all before the invention of cameras, so everybody knew how to draw to communicate visually?
To a certain degree. Yeah, but we're going to talk about, later we talk about another monumental milestone called Industrial Revolution. That's what the camera become, technology developed. But people say camera going to kill paintings. It didn't.
Just like AI.
AI going to kill humans? To be seen.
At this point, AI is going to kill human touch.
Well, I don't know. It can enhance the human touch.
Well, to be fair, a lot of companies are varying things, or have been saying, yeah, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know that, I personally don't know.
That's a very interesting topic because AI is inevitable. AI, but now people talk about this hybrid, the society, they coexist and then enhance the human experience rather than diminish it. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen. Anyway. Okay. All right, so here you can see the basically repeating, right? So you can see, which day? That's 1700, and now it's 21st century, right? A few hundred years apart, but you can see similarities or sameness. But on the outer wheel, there was something a little different. Purple become important. I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of purple color in nature. We got this? But you can see, I just want to see how historically we can get some ideas how we reach to today. All right, so this is going to be number 4, right? Let me see. Huh?
How many color wheels do you have?
I have about 6 and 7. Actually, I have another one in the closet. I will show you. I would just put in there so you can see how through history, A lot of times, the funny thing, I know there are not a whole lot of people really, tell you color in such a way, But I think it's necessary. Just get a little background knowledge, then we'll understand today better. That's what history is about, right? Why we learn history?
We don't repeat it, maybe?
Well, yeah, we learn from it. Yeah, either we repeat it doing better or avoid it. But history always repeating itself. Do we see it, right? Sometimes we think it's a good way, sometimes it's not too good a way, but that's why we need to know history. You're right, but it's fascinating. But you see, that is the step to take us to today. You have to see that. We're not separate from history. Yeah. But anyway, okay. So this guy is a Swiss artist. This is an artist. Okay, his name is, so the number 4. So his name is Esteten. Eaton, Swiss. Okay. Now he's 3/8. Johannes. Yeah, because people in that area is different. German, Austrian, Swiss is very interesting because there are 3 different cultures: the Germans, the French, and the Italians. So it depends on which region you're in it. So, yeah, back to your ancestry, right? So you can relate to how they pronounce, either John or Johann or. Anyway, so this guy is very significant. Why? Because he's related to a group or a school. In art, very significant. What is it, Christina?
Impressionists?
No. It happened in Germany. The school, very important school. Bauhaus. Anybody heard of Bauhaus? Bauhaus? Heard of Bauhaus? If you're in design, architecture, art, you have to know Bauhaus. Okay? You?
1907. You mean 1907? That's a boat, right? That's 1888. 1888 to 1907, correct?
67.
67. Holy mackerel.
79.
That guy, having a good health.
Well, when you do art, you probably most likely get a good health. Mental health particularly. Trust me. Okay, what is a Bauhaus? So Bauhaus is a group of artists, designers, architects, art theorists together. They went to Germany, they created this whole thing. It started like late 20s, 1920s and the 30s until Germany controlled by the Nazi party, and a lot of those artists have to flee because Hitler hates a lot of the artists. So one of our very famous artists' name, they call the father of abstract art. Do you know who that is?
Before Picasso, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and it's been a long time.
He was a Russian, and after the Russian Revolution, he fled. Wassily Kandinsky. So he is a part of the Bauhaus, but he's, so the Bauhaus is a system, is a institution. They teach, they research, okay? So today we teach your color class, actually start Bauhaus. Your 2D design class, design principles, start from Bauhaus. Because those people start to put things together and put into the art education system. So we learn all the theories, why the theory exists because of Bauhaus. And a lot of theory in design, architecture. So a lot of the people who, very famous architects like Mies van der Rohe and I cannot, but there's a lot of people who design furnitures, products, like today, computer, all the thing, all these is all rooted from Bauhaus. So that's very significant, these people who, a lot of these color theories, even when I was in college, I came here to study. I have my textbook. It's written by someone from Bauhaus, but at the time was just retired from Yale University, so they published some. I still have the book in my bookshelf. It's 1960s. It's someone from Bauhaus wrote a book about art, about color. It's very, very important. So anything you're in arts, remember this Bauhaus. Graphic design, start from here. They're making posters and things like that. Well, it's not really they just start teaching it. Of course, before that, people start making posters, things, but they really say how to do it, how to put them things together, how to do the composition. So like we talked about elements, principles the other day, that's how they started, visual communication. All right? So, but you can see it's closer to us now because I can relate it because a lot of things I learned in this country in arts is in the Bauhaus system. And I'm still teaching it. We're still teaching in our higher educational system in arts. We follow the Bauhaus system. So you're probably going to hear this a lot in other classes, okay? But very significant. So this I have inner layer, outer layer. I'll just try to put everything as quick as possible because we really don't have a whole lot of time. This is very complicated. I have to get it right because I don't want to miss 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I try to get it as correct as possible. Maybe I added 2 more. Okay, yellow, orange, orange. So here really is not important, almost like everybody's equal. The primary, the secondary, the tertiary, he gave equal space in his portrayal of, maybe I got too much. Red, do you see here? Basically, you can see primary, tertiary. Do you see that? Okay, here's magenta. Where's purple? Violet. Oh, I got too much. Blue, purple, purple, blue, green, yellow. I got probably green, yellow. Yeah, I got a little too much. So, yellow. Okay. A funky thing is inside a triangle, and triangle magenta. Okay, so here is, do you see here, this is like all these separations. So this is a yellow, red, blue, because it will try to coincide with this. Violet, green, orange. What is purpose? Why the information, So basically, he put all these primary, secondary, tertiary together as a consistent outer layer. And then he emphasized the primary and the secondary inside core.
What's the L on the magenta? I think that's a
V, violet, sorry.
And then between, your, the thing that kind of looks like an unfinished Q on the G, a C with an X in it, on the other side.
G.
That's a G. And then, is that another G below the G?
Let me see. This is a, sorry, wait. Do I have so many G's? Okay, sorry. But blue, green, blue. Okay, so then there's just green, yellow. This is green, blue. This is not in here. Sorry. Yep. Because hard for me to see these outer layers. You got it? Basically equal primary color, secondary color, tertiary color equal, right? And then in the core, emphasize primary and then the secondary. Okay. Kind of similar to that. You don't see too much anything but yellow, red, blue, green. You see, green is still pretty important in there. Okay? Okay, now 5. I think I used to have like 10 different things. I feel like, oh, maybe it's too much. Oh, I keep Bauhaus because this guy is Bauhaus, and then the textbook I still in my bookshelf is from this guy. Albert. I can't remember but he died in 1976. He is a Bauhaus guy. He's a very Bauhaus guy. However, he didn't use color wheel. He used a color triangle. Huh? Yes. But he's very influential, this guy. He's considered as not a painter or not an artist per se, but he's more kind of theorist. Art theory. Nowadays, I remember old days, they still have like fine art, studio art, right? Art history. And they have art theory, they separate. All right. Let me just concentrate on this. Let me just try to get. So it's a triangle within triangle within triangle. I try to get it as correct as possible. So basically, triangle, 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 triangle. Do you see here how many triangles? Okay, so red, compare with it. Yellow, well, blue. Sometimes it doesn't really matter. I would just follow this. Do you see that? So basically, when you look at this, is triangles. Do you see it? Right? So basically, here is them. Okay, green here, right? Purple here, or violet, orange here. Do you see that? So you have, but Albert did address something. So here is tricky. Here is called reddish gray. Depends on how you spell gray, either R or E, but A or E. Here's a blue gray. Gray. Here's green gray. So he put this gray thing in here. Okay?
Like greenish brown.
Green gray, greenish gray, bluish gray, reddish gray. Yeah, it's not yellowish gray. Okay, so this guy, you know how close to today. And then we have, let me get this one out. This one I don't have to put on the board. Three-dimensional color wheel. So broken. You know, most places they don't have anymore. I'm glad we still have this one, but it's badly damaged. It's just very thin plastic. So I had to tape it up. So I'm going to talk about this later in our continuous different topic. This one will apply it very clearly because you can see it. So this is an American named Mansell. Let me try to see whether I have his date, birth date, and I don't think I have it. Oh yeah, actually he's earlier. Mansell, and he created this. So he's from 1858 to 1918. But anyway, so this is a very, probably more detailed, but we look at Albert's gray stuff, and then this one have some gray things in here, but not gray, but some ish gray. We look at the top. Do you see how different from dark to light? Right? From muted to not muted. Do you see how the lateral movements or vertical movements, and they show all different, but you have your red, blue, yellow, green, orange, purple. Do you see it? If you look in this way, and then you turn it, but this way they will be different, this way will be different. We can say shade, but you know, I will use different words. By this point, I'm not going to give you that word yet. You can just say shade. You know, different shades, but. All right, so. There's actually something I didn't show you, but I'm going to put in here, and because of our time. So you can see the history, right? So let's just summarize it. So basically, you can see primary colors, you can see secondary colors, you can see tertiary colors, right? However, some of the color wheels, triangles, were not either 3 primary colors or 4 primary colors. Some people may say purple, but I probably will let you just make sure you stick with the green, the importance green. So rather than red, yellow, blue, green, sometimes it's there too, but why? Okay, and then another question we haven't talked about is center, right? Center is black, right? The Harris study bugs and put black in the middle because he did paint. Okay? But Newton put white in the middle. He didn't paint. So, what happened? Okay? So basically, when you look at it, there's a slightly variation between scientific approach or artistic approach. Right? Slightly different. Because most people, including green or white, is more scientific approach. Okay. So basically, it ends up like this, which is, I will just do a different color. So beside this one, actually we have, well, this is not dark enough or strong enough. We have a different parallel color wheel. Okay? Old days, our textbooks, our art teaching, our classroom. This one is basically kind of a overlooked or ignored. Okay? Mostly we talk about this, we didn't talk about this. What is this? Primary colors, red, blue, green. Secondary color, magenta, cyan, yellow. Okay? So Newton, you know, here a lot of people including green. So that's what, go back to Christina talk about. Pigments versus light. Okay? So why we talk about that? Mostly in our arts kind of a context. And not talking about this in the scientific context. Actually, these two are equally important. Okay, why? Because we have to go back to how we are made. Okay, so let me just try to explain to you as clear as possible. Right. So basically, talk about color wheels. There's like one tree, like a two fruit. Okay, but they all grow in the same tree. They're like twins. You know, even identical twins, they're not totally identical. Even identical twin, they're two different individuals, so they're different, right? But a lot of times they will only emphasize one part of it. We forget, neglect the other twin. Okay, so actually there are two color wheels. One called okay, so sometimes people say, what is this? What is going on here? Why two? Let's talk about subtractive, because that's how we learned old days in our color class, right? So what is a subtract? When they say subtract, almost like how I explain this. So you mix together and they become less and less from the origin. Make sense? So you mix everything, then you don't see anything anymore. Because in the center, you mix everything, then you lose. Is that red? No. It contains red. Is that blue? No. But it contains blue. Is that yellow? But it's contained. But you don't see them anymore. They become just less and less from the origin. Additive is the opposite. The more you mix, the more go back to the origin. Make sense? Hard. So, what is additive? Additive, what is the origin? Okay, this one, or pigments. But why I say is equal? Okay, go back to how we're made. Okay, so our eyes, right? What is behind the eyes? Okay, you have a retina, and then it's like receptors, and you go there. Back there, there's some sensors, just like your iPhone. How your iPhone work, right? Hey, you have a lens. You know, my iPhone is old. Anybody have a newer one, 14? Yeah. Okay. So you have, how many lenses do you have? 3 or 4? Okay. Gail got 3 lenses, right? But it doesn't matter. So you have a lens. It's like retina. You take in there, then the sensor. They'll process it, right? So we then process it. What they process is the chip. They can translate that image into a 0 and 1s. And then they will convert into analog again and become, you see image in the colors. Same thing here. So we have retina right here, right? So retina. When you're getting older, your retina probably deteriorates. So, and then you have a little foam over your eyes that we call it what? Cataract. Then you have to remove it. Too early for you guys, but eventually we'll have to, right? Deterioration. But anyway, so then you go back there, there's receptors. Okay? So humans have receptors. They call cones. Okay? So those cones are not really interpreted receiving images, but those receptors receiving colors. And those receptors are using basically receptors 3 primary colors. The 3 primary colors is not RYB, it's RGB. Okay, it's red, green, and blue. A lot of our things we designed is to follow how we're made, humans being designed. Okay, let's talk about, Pamela and Gail and Christina. When the computer just started, at the beginning is monitor. And then they have a color. What color monitor called? The colors. RBG or RGB, right? RBG, which is, they designed that because that's based on how our eyes made. Oh, the TV. Any of you guys see the old big tube box TV? Dots or lines, but they are only 3 colors because before the TV is not as thin as, like piece of plastic, right? But old days we'll call it, the slang called tube, right? I go home and watch tube. That's what YouTube is. That's it. They use the tube, even though you don't see a tube. It's a tube. It's like a funnel shape, and then there's like a cylinder behind. So they have 3 colors they shoot onto the screen. 3 colors, RBG. But what happened? Your eye see the 3 colors, but then when the color combination, there's 3 colors together, more this together, more that together, or they separate. Then you see other colors. Okay? So, as artists, why we don't talk about, because people say, there's no necessary we talk about scientific, we only mix pigments when paint is pigments. So a lot of people say, oh, we just talk about one. Or they even don't even aware this other one exists, because in our field, that's not considered as part of it. It's only science talking about. But don't forget, when we see a painting, it's RBG. When we paint, we mix the others, RYB. You see how? So, but painting, you have to look at it. Do you see how complicated it becomes? So that's why these are twins. You cannot say this one exists, this one's not. They're all there. All come from the same family. They're all equally important. When you go to a graphic design, they teach color. They don't talk about subtractive part, they say. Because this monitor is the same. You know, they use the 3 different colors and everything else you mixed. So, anybody go to a bookstore? Only bookstore, probably big ones like Barnes & Nobles now, right? Did you go to like periodical section? Do you know what I'm talking about? Periodical section? No? Magazine, because they come periodically. Well, monthly or bi-monthly or quarterly, whatever. Okay. Do you see the glossy printing? Right? Wow, so good. If you use a magnifying glass, anybody look at magazine use magnifying glass? What is it? Dots. So what is do you know the words, not words, but DPI? DPI, what's the DPI? Anybody, graphic design? Megan, do you know DPI? Yeah. What the DPI started, it's not just the computer, it's old days printing. The printing never mix the ink. They only do dots, and the dots are side by side. We call it juxtaposition. Okay? So you have red dots. Well, basically, it's really, do you see here? The printing actually uses the secondary colors only. Plus, I'm just curious. You all have a printer at home, right? Do I have a printer? So how many people are using Epson printer? Mostly I use HP or Canon or whatever, right? So how many cartridges? When you have to replace your cartridges, how many cartridges you have? 4? Do you change your cartridges? Do you have a printer? Will you change your cartridges? You don't? Nowadays, a lot of cartridges, one black, one color.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Yeah.
They
But-
used to have black,
Cyan.
cyan,
Yeah.
magenta, and yellow. Because the magenta and yellow always like
Whatever, the sequence may not be like that. So what's a K? K is black. So when they print, they have a cyan, magenta, and yellow. Okay? They need a black because they need a darkness. When you look at it, a magazine prints, no matter how colorful, how beautiful, how smooth they are, you get a magnifying glass, you see nothing but yellow dots, magenta dots, cyan dots, black dots.
those dots are so hard to see now because they're using
So fine, yeah. However, why? But how you see all the color? You don't see the dots. Why? Because your eyes are mixing colors. Why you see 3 colors, but you don't just see 3 colors on your TV or computer monitor?
Because our eyes are always doing the work for us.
Yes,
Subtractive.
yes, your eye have your brain actually control your eyes mixing color. So this we call pigment mixing. This we call optical mixing or mixture. Pigment mixture versus optical mixture. Coexist, overlapping. All right? A little confusing?
No, it's fascinating.
Yes, but a lot of time we don't know, we don't see that. How many times your teacher teach your color say there's optical mixture on top of your pigment mixture? So that's you're going to talk about French Impressionists. So not today because time is kind of tight. So next time you come here, I will show you some of the images. Then you say, because this is a weakness. We don't understand as painters, as artists. We don't talk about this too much. So this is like a blank. We have all these questions. What happened? Because we talk just too much. So next time I will gonna just talk about this part and say, what is this? Why does this happen? Okay. Before, really, this part, people talk a little bit about it's 2 fields. One is graphic design in the computer because they mix colors right here, right? So computer is totally using this additive color theory. And another field they use is theater. Light, the set design. Anybody into theater?
I've studied it briefly.
Yeah, okay. So if you go backstage, you see the set, right? As a backdrop, whatever background. What color is the set when you look at it?
It depends on the lighting.
Okay, before the lighting. Gray. Yeah, black, white, gray. How they add color? Light. Light. I'll show examples, okay? But people don't think about how our humans made is in that way. So that's what light can happen. That's what this TV can happen. That's what the printing can happen. That's what the computer can happen because we have the 3 cones RBG. Today, I don't really have time to show you all these things, okay? But I want you to do because I'm going to probably talk a little bit more about this part because this is the lacking part. So next time I will show you some images and give you a little bit more understanding, okay? But I want you to do a little experiment to understand this, okay? So you have your color pencil or marker. Okay, I want you to take the red one out. Red. Red. Do you have it? So what you have is you have your page like this, right? It doesn't matter. There's no lines or no other things in there. So I want you to use your red on the, like whatever, on the left side. You do a small shape. Okay, how small? It's like about a 1/4 square inch. It's like the tip of this marker, about this size. Don't make it too big, okay? You can make it red. Okay, here. You either do a star or you do a little heart. Just a small shape. Okay? Fill it with a solid red. Come on, any shape, but don't be too big. Just as big as this little tip. like one,
Sorry.
1/4 square inch. Quarter was 1/4, right? All right. So I want you to use your little pencil, okay, as sharp as possible. Pencil. Okay, just do a tiny little dot on the right side. So I want you to stare at this red shape for like 30 seconds, 15 to 30 seconds. And then move your eye to that little dot. Do you see anything? If you don't see it, you repeat this process. If you see it, you're not hallucinating. Okay, everybody? So, why do we see some things not there? Right? Because a lot of people say seeing is believing. If it's there, you see it. If it's not there, you don't see it, but you saw something, right? Describe it. Same shape. Different color. Okay, describe that green. Lighter. What do you call? Cyan. Most people, in this sense, will see a cyan. Because it's red, you go to the opposite. Do you see red? Do you see red here? You go opposite, cyan. But it's not that. It's not green. It's not like your green, like leaf green. No, it's light bluish green, right? So what you see is in the additive color part. And not only that, you see the opposite. So what happened is your receptors, your cone get exhausted, and then the opposite appear. That's a phenomenon we call after image. Write it down. After image. Okay, or sometimes people use a very fancy name called a successive contrast. Almost like something you look at too long and the thing stay with you, the same shape, but then the opposite color will show up. All right? Say, if you're in the red room, all the paint, the walls painted red, the floor's red carpet, the ceiling's red, you stay there for like a few minutes and you walk into everything painted white. Then all of a sudden you say, wait a minute, I like this blue-green color. That's really happening. Okay? So some artists using this in their painting.
Thank you guys for watching. We hope you enjoyed our show. Please comment, like and subscribe until next time.